What's up guys, it's Nazran and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I made a video and I feel like that's how I start every single video because I just can't seem to understand the concept of consistency. So for that, I'm sorry. Today's video is one I've been kind of excited about. I recently moved. I moved from Portland to Los Angeles. I'm really excited. I love my new apartment. I did an empty apartment tour on my Instagram story yesterday and people had a ton of questions about moving things and how I found my apartment and all of that. So I just wanted to make a video on it. I was initially planning on doing a whole moving vlog and my situation just changed so many times throughout this move. I was so stressed out. The footage just like wasn't good. It wasn't really what I wanted it to be. So we're doing this instead. So I had you guys ask me a bunch of questions and I just wanted to make this like kind of helpful informational video based on my real moving experience. And hopefully it would be helpful to some of you guys if you are looking to move out of state soon, move to LA in general. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first question I got, and I got this several times, was why did you move? Yeah, why did I move? I constantly ask myself the very same thing. So I started considering this move in like December or January-ish, just because I'm in LA all the time for work and I did have a couple clients who wanted me out here a little more frequently and just like more long-term, and I was like, okay, maybe I should just move. And I was thinking about it, but then Corona hit and everything got like a little bit weird and I wasn't sure if I was gonna move anymore. I wanted to maybe stay in Portland. I also absolutely love Portland. Like that is my home, best city ever. I didn't want to leave. But in April, around my birthday, my friend had a room opening up in her house when her roommate was supposed to move out. And she was like, if you just want to move to LA and like live in my house, we could just do that and that'd be perfect. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, what a good situation. However, you know, Corona progressed, it kind of got worse. Those job opportunities that I had were in the entertainment industry, so they're just kind of completely on hold at the moment. And my friend's roommate ended up like not moving out when her lease was up. She's like squatting in the house. It's like a weird, like bad situation. So that kind of just like left me out on my own. And I was like, do I want to leave Portland? Do I want to move to LA? In my mind, I had already kind of committed. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to find my own place. Yeah. And I'm here all the time, so it's a city I'm super comfortable in. I have a ton of friends here. I do have a lot of work here, and you know, once the entertainment industry picks back up, post-Rona, I guess, those jobs will be available to me once again. So I'm not super worried about it, and I'm being super optimistic. And honestly, I had just never lived anywhere else. I've lived in Portland for 7 years, and I lived in Oregon still like my whole life, so I'd never moved. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna make a little change and see how we like it. So we're just doing it. Okay? We're just doing it. And I keep just telling myself this was a good idea. So long story short, work is why I moved, but I'm excited for a change regardless. So the next question I got quite a bit was, what neighborhood am I in and how did I find my apartment? So I'm not going to tell you guys like exactly what neighborhood I'm in, but it's very central, kind of near the Grove. So very like close to everything, in the middle of LA. And I like this neighborhood a lot because I previously house sat over here for a friend and I just absolutely loved it. I loved her place. I love the neighborhood. It's close to everything. Love the area. So I knew when I was looking for apartments by myself that I wanted to find a place in this neighborhood. So that definitely helped me like narrow down my search. I used Trulia, I used apartments.com, I used Zillow, I used HotPads. I literally used every website out there and I had found like 3 or 4 apartments that I was interested in. And not being here physically, I was still in Oregon at the time, I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? So I set up tours and my friend Kaylee is so amazing. She's seriously the best ever. Her and her boyfriend Jack went and saw a couple places for me. And while they were at one of the apartments, the realtor was actually like, oh, I have a couple other units in the building across the street if you wanna look at those. And she was like, sure. And you know, I was on FaceTime with them the whole time and stuff. And I had actually really liked that other apartment, but it was like a little too expensive. So I was like, yeah, show me what else you got. So the realtor ended up showing them this apartment, which I absolutely loved. I'm so obsessed with it, and it was even cheaper. So yeah, I was super stoked on that. I found this apartment absolutely by a stroke of luck. It actually wasn't listed online. So I would definitely recommend, first of all, knowing the neighborhood you want to live in. If you haven't been to LA or whatever city you're going to move to before, definitely do your research on where you might want to live. If you can visit beforehand, that's always the best. But especially here, just going out on the street and looking at like for lease signs, I think is huge, because not everything is listed online. So that's how I found this place. Yeah, really, really happy with it. I love it so much. I'm so thankful to Kaylee and Jack for like taking time out of their day to like go see these apartments for me. Lifesavers. The next question I got is, how much is it? So I posted an apartment tour, or an empty apartment tour, on my Instagram story yesterday, and a lot of people were like, oh my god, like how much is your rent? And I think that's like, you know, information that people like don't really need to know about me. But I will tell you guys, it is only about $200 more than I was paying in Portland. And I was already anticipating like an increase, just as Los Angeles is a much more expensive city than Portland. So I was prepared to pay like 200 bucks more, and that's about exactly what this is. Yeah, so it's not a huge jump. It's not crazy expensive. It's definitely not cheap, but it's not too bad. And so as long as you're prepared for like an increase in cost of living, I think moving to LA is totally doable. A lot of people said, how is moving during the pandemic? So yeah, I was really worried about moving during coronavirus. I think that was partially why I was so stressed out during this moving process. Like I don't know, every little thing like made me panic, but it was actually really good. You know, all my movers were wearing masks, gloves, the whole thing. It was very seamless. I used a shipping company rather than like a moving truck, and so it was even just easier in that sense. And then yeah, everyone I've had to come in contact with was wearing masks, gloves, whatever. The only thing I was a little concerned about was flying, but that also ended up being totally fine. The airport was like almost empty. I flew Alaska, so everyone was like, it was like one person per row pretty much, and everyone was wearing masks, and I brought my own Lysol wipes on the plane. Yeah, it was all good. I don't think it was much different than moving normally, so obviously be safe, but it's nothing to really worry about. What did you do with your stuff between the move from Portland and LA? Was it in storage? So yeah, I moved out of my Portland apartment on July 16th, just because that's the day my lease was up, and I moved into this apartment on August 1st. So for those 2 weeks in between, I really wanted to take that time to spend with like family and friends. So I went and stayed with my mom in my hometown. It was so good to just see her for a couple weeks before I left. So basically what I did was, on my move out day, I had movers come and load up my like moving pod. It's a shipping cube. I use the company U-Pack. I'll tell you guys more about that. But the movers loaded it up. They take the cube and it's immediately shipped to your destination. So it was shipped to Los Angeles and it sits in storage there. It was such a seamless, like easy process. I don't know why I was so stressed out and like, I don't know, frantic about like every little thing. I was like, oh my God, what if all my stuff breaks? What if it gets stolen? Like, what if? Everything was totally fine. Totally fine. So yes, it was in storage for those 2 weeks. And then on August 1st, I had movers go to their storage facility, get all my stuff out of the cube and bring it into my new apartment. And it was really, really easy. Someone said, how do you find these cute apartments? I think in LA, it's actually kind of hard to find a really cute apartment. I was surprised. I think in Portland, I had just seen so many like adorable places that I knew exactly what I wanted. But in LA, I was really glad I had seen my friend's place that was also in this neighborhood, because it was the exact vibe I was going for. And I was like, I want an apartment that looks just like hers. So I really just scoured around this neighborhood. Actually, almost all the ones I found online were very cute in person. And so I think just make sure you see it in person, but having an idea of what the architecture in the neighborhood is like is definitely the way to find exactly what you're looking for, whether that's modern or Art Deco or like vintage. Yeah. Okay, so one girl said, what moving company did you use and did you like them? And were there any unexpected moving expenses? In Portland, my movers were Portland Movers. Amazing. They were great. It was a group of 3 guys, I believe. And I paid, you know, the 3-hour minimum, but they actually did my whole move in an hour and a half. They were phenomenal. They also just paid such attention to detail and like wrapped all my stuff properly, really secured it in the shipping cube, and nothing broke. Like not one single glass, not one single bowl. Everything arrived in perfect condition. So I highly recommend them if you're in Portland. And then I used U-Pack, which was the actual shipping company that provided the pod and did the shipping from Portland to LA. They were great as well, super communicative, easy to work with, and definitely cheaper than a lot of the other options I had looked at. And then in LA, I used Lug, which I was a little skeptical of at first, but I had a bunch of friends that had used them, so I was like, it should be fine. And it's kind of like an on-demand, like Uber type moving service. You request it in the app, you just tell them, hey, you need to be here to pick up my stuff at this time, and you drop it off here. And they were awesome. They did my whole move in, yeah, probably like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. And they, oh my God, my elevator was broken. They carried all my stuff up the stairs. Like they were amazing. I love them, and I left them a huge tip. Okay, so this was the big one that I got a lot of questions on, and I really wanted to answer this too because when I first started the moving process, this is what I was Googling, this is what I was typing into the YouTube search bar, and that is, how much does moving cost? Like how much did it really cost me to move to LA? So I have a little notes app list where I broke down the cost of like every little thing basically from point A to point B. So my U-Pack cube was $985, which kind of sounds like a lot of money, but actually compared to like if I had hired a moving truck company, those were going for like $3,000 or $4,000, and this I got it less than $1,000. So they dropped it off at my apartment in Portland. I had movers load it up, they picked it up, they kept it at their storage facility in LA, and I had movers go out there, pick up my stuff, and move it into my apartment. So that was $985. My moving supplies, this I think I spent a little too much money on, but I also didn't really want to cut corners because I wanted like new and like good supplies. I don't know. So this was for boxes, tape, ratchet straps for the cube, foam, moving blankets, and stretch wrap. And that was $170 for all of that. I got stuff off of Amazon and off of the U-Pack website. Portland Movers was $486, and then I gave them a tip. And then my Lug Movers in LA were $428, and I gave them a tip. My application fee for the apartment was $30. My holding deposit for the apartment was $500, but that did count towards my first month's rent. And my first day move-in and cleaning supplies, like everything I needed kind of like right when I got here, I ordered everything off of Target to be delivered on the day I moved in, was about $220. So that was cleaning supplies, power strips, just like random kitchen stuff I needed, all sorts of stuff. So I haven't added all of this up, but I'll tally it down below. So one thing that was really expensive that I didn't include on that, because it just would have like skewed everything in like a really expensive direction, was my security deposit. Because before moving into this apartment, I didn't have credit. I just, you know, I've never like felt like having a credit card. So I got one recently, but I'm still like building credit at the moment. And they were like, hey, you have no credit, so we need to charge you like 3 times your rent in a security deposit. And I was like, okay. So I did pay that, and it was extremely expensive. It's very embarrassing. I'm not going to tell you how much it was. But if you're looking at moving, especially into an expensive area, just have good credit so you're not charged like multiple times a monthly rent for a security deposit, because that will save you a lot of money that I did not save. And then I think the last question that I just thought was like cute is, what do I miss the most about Portland, and what am I the most excited for now that I'm in LA? I miss my friends, I miss my family, I miss the food. I absolutely love Portland, and I didn't really want to leave. I just kind of pushed myself to like do something different and get out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I'm very proud of myself for doing that, but I do miss it a ton. Yeah, I know I'll go back though. I know I'll end up back in Portland. That is just the best city ever. It's my favorite place, and I absolutely love it. But I think what I'm most excited about here, I mean, all my friends are in LA. I know so many people here. It's great for work. The weather's amazing. I'm just excited to like do something different, switch it up a little bit. Yeah, and I'm really excited about this apartment. I can't wait to decorate it. I've already ordered a ton of furniture and stuff, and so that is all coming. And yeah, there will be a new apartment tour very soon. But I hope this information was like helpful to you at all if you're thinking about moving, looking at places, wanting to move to LA, and just like wanting to know. You can check out my Instagram and Twitter at blackprints, and if you guys have any other questions, please direct them to me over there. I'm always happy to answer those. Yeah, well, hope everyone is staying healthy and safe, and remember to wear your mask and wash your hands. Bye.